Hola, ¿cómo estás? How's it going? My name is Wes. Welcome back to another lesson. In today's lesson, we have another blue vocabulary lesson, and we are going to look at the second part of our topic, travel in Spanish. So for today's lesson, I have another set of 12 words and phrases about the topic travel in Spanish. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Alright, so the first word that we will learn in today's lesson is the suitcase, which in Spanish is la maleta.
La maleta. La maleta.
Now, when you travel, oftentimes you have a suitcase with you, but you also have a backpack. So the word for the backpack is
La mochila. La mochila.
Then talking about the suitcase and the backpack, if you want to say the luggage in Spanish, you say
El equipaje. El equipaje.
so it's very similar to the English word the equipment or the luggage. Alright, the next word is the connection.
La conexión. La conexión.
The connection. And if you're flying, for example, you might want to look up information about el destino. El destino, the destination.
El destino. El destino.
Now, sometimes, unfortunately, flights also get cancelled, or trains, or whatever it is we're talking about. In this case, the word for cancelled is
Cancelado. Cancelado.
which comes from the verb cancelar, to cancel. So, for example, el vuelo está cancelado. The flight is cancelled. El vuelo está cancelado. Alright, so let's go over some more helpful phrases that we can use when we are talking about the topic travel. So the first one is I'm going to. For example, when you want to say I'm going to Santo Domingo, for example, or wherever it is you're going. So I'm going to is voy a. Voy a.
Voy a.
So if you want to say I'm going to Santo Domingo, you could say voy a Santo Domingo.
Voy a Santo Domingo. Voy a Santo Domingo.
If you want to ask how do I get to, in Spanish this would be ¿Cómo llego a? ¿Cómo llego a?
¿Cómo llego a? ¿Cómo llego a?
So for example, how do I get to gate number A6? How do I get to gate 6?
¿Cómo llego a la puerta A6? ¿Cómo llego a la puerta A6?
So ¿Cómo llego a? How do I get to or how do I arrive to? Alright, so the next sentence is instead of saying how do I get to or how do I arrive to, you can also ask where can I find? Where can I find? Which is ¿Dónde puedo encontrar? Or literally translated, encontrar can also mean to encounter. So you could also say where can I encounter something? Which of course in English we would not use encounter, but instead we would say where can I find? So ¿Dónde puedo encontrar? Is where can I find?
¿Dónde puedo encontrar? ¿Dónde puedo encontrar?
Alright, the next three words that I want to go over. First one is
Alquilar. Alquilar.
which means to rent. So for example, if you want to say I want to rent a car,
Quiero alquilar un coche. Quiero alquilar un coche.
I want to rent a car. And of course there are different ways of transportation. So in this example we look at the car, el coche. But in one of the next vocabulary lessons we will also look at different ways of transportation. So the car, the train, the bus, etc. Alright, and then the last word or phrase that I want to go over in this topic about travel is to change money, which in Spanish is
Cambiar dinero. Cambiar dinero.
to change money. Alright, and with that being said, that's the end of this lesson and also the end of this blue vocabulary topic about travel in Spanish. Now, as always, there is a reference sheet available of today's lesson if you want to dive a bit deeper and practice these words and phrases. And of course, also for any other questions or anything related to the Spanish language, you can always go to my website, which is SpanishWithWes.com. Alright, that's it for today's lesson. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Adios.